Wow, what a difference a week makes. Last Monday at this time, a lot of you were busting open the phone lines and the text messages. The end of the world as we knew it coming in Tuscaloosa. But man, a shutout victory over La Monroe will change everything. Welcome into Three Man Front, another great week of programming right here on Jocks. Thanks for tuning us in. The whole gang is here. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. We will hear from the head football coaches of both Alabama and Auburn a little bit later in the show. A little bit different for Auburn this week. Typically, it's an 11:30 press conference for Hugh Freeze. It's going to be at 1:30 today. So we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer at noon. And, of course, at 1 o'clock, Bill Clark, former UAB head coach, Jacksonville State head coach, he'll join us, give us his thoughts on the weekend. And then, of course, 1:30, it'll be Hugh Freeze. So we will start there, in which both Alabama and Auburn, as expected, it was going to be big wins, Landrum, but as fan bases go, you got to feel really good if you're Alabama because you do get the shutout 73-0, but you got the quarterbacks. All three of them looked very good. You got to think about who they played, but still, when you're looking to try to get some type of positive momentum, that's what they got.
Well, it's the old adage, and it may sound cliche, but it's the next game on the schedule. This is a Louisiana Monroe team that you marked up before the season. This is going to be a win. But after what you saw, whether it was lack of effort, lack of execution offensively, being able to tackle on the defensive side, coaching, all of that was put to rest. It was put to rest early. You saw 4 quarters of max effort. You saw Ty Simpson being perfect. Alabama did exactly what they were supposed to do and then some versus Louisiana Monroe. So what does that mean? Can you carry the momentum into this weekend with the early start versus Wisconsin at Bryant-Denny?
Conrad, you were there in attendance covering the game for Jocks. Just your impressions prior to the game, talking to the likes of Nick Kelly, Mike Rodak, Rodney Orr, all the guys they covered the team on a daily basis, boots on the ground in T-Town. What were they saying before you went into the game against La Monroe?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny because before the start of the game, we were watching because they have all the a bunch of TVs in the press box, and we were standing there. Me and Rodney were watching the Florida game as that was concluding, and we'll get into that big upset there for Alex Golish. But we were kind of having the joke of, man, look how well coached the South Florida defensive line is. Where's that in Tuscaloosa? We need a little bit of something about that. And so it was funny just watching the different games and kind of going, man, it'd be really cool to see something like that from Alabama today or see that kind of effort, that kind of performance. And that was kind of the sentiment, right? It was optimism from what they had seen in practice that it was going to be improved, but still kind of that wait and see because obviously we had all been misled from what we heard from the offseason with the dud that they gave up against Florida State. But then, I mean, getting to the game, I thought it was apparent very early on. I mean, you even had before the game the people that saw it, Tim Keenan going up to Kalen DeBoer and kind of hyping his own coach up, and I would imagine saying something similar to, hey, block out all the noise. We got you, coach. We're here for you. We're going to play and bust our butts for 60 minutes. And I thought that's what they did. They brought the juice early. The energy on defense was palpable. And then offensively, obviously, it was nearly perfect through the air. And then I thought the running game showed some flashes. So I thought it was good. You got to see a lot of young guys that made an impact. You had London Simmons, who was starting for Beeman, a freshman there. You got to see Latsier Brooks a lot, who maybe it's because he wears 17. I think reminds a lot of people of Jalen Waddle as a freshman, so certainly high praise there. Kevin Riley got the most carries out of the running back room. We had talked about that last week. He looked like the guy that was maybe the most explosive out of that room. So all in all, it was ULM. It's not Wisconsin. It's not Georgia. It's not LSU or Oklahoma. But it was a step in the right direction, and everything that I think Alabama could have done on Saturday to ease the concerns of the fan base, I think they did all those things.
Well, even if you're throwing against air, not against opposition, when your quarterbacks only have 4 incompletions, they were 29 of 33 collectively, 371, 7 touchdown passes, and 1 rushing touchdown. That is a really good evening for the quarterbacks, not to mention the defense held ULM to only 43 yards in the first half. I mean, that was pretty dominating. And the running game, as you just mentioned, Kevin Riley from Northport's Tuscaloosa County High School, someone that I was able to watch when he was playing for the Wildcats, very talented young man. Maybe the group around him not as talented, but you could tell that he had the individual skills that he could go play at the next level. And so he looked very good the other night. But you have to like the fact that in the first half, Alabama had 78 yards rushing. They had 87 yards rushing the week before total against Florida State. Understand, completely different defense. But Landrum getting the running game going, the quarterback's near perfect that is a really good sign because you're trying to build momentum, trying to springboard yourself into the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, with all due respect to our friends in Louisiana Monroe and Bryant Vincent and that staff, if you can't do it against Louisiana Monroe, are you going to be able to do it against the teeth of that SEC schedule or even some of the lesser opponents that you see on that schedule and this week versus Wisconsin? Yeah, you got max effort. You'd like to see that in every single game. We know that that's not possible, but for the players to kind of rally and go out there and say, hey, this is what we're here to do, and to go and do it and dominate your opponent for 60 minutes, kudos.
Think about this. So Kevin Riley and A.K. Deere, who opened fall camp for Alabama as the 5th and 6th running backs on the depth chart, they're now the Tide's 2 leading rushers through 2 games. That's either good or bad. Depends on how you want to look at it.
60-yard touchdown at the end helped with that a little bit too.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It's the largest shutout in program history since 1951 when Delta State, that's Pete Golding's alma mater, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't play for the 1951 Delta State team, but
He played for Rick Rhodes.
89-0. That's how bad Alabama beat Delta State back in 1951. And so the defense, they were number 103 totally in defense after the Florida State game. After the shutout, they're now 37th in college football. So they kind of climbed that national rankings in defense with a shutout of ULM. And how about this? This is good news, and we heard this during the fall, so this is played over. Alabama is only one of 22 teams that are playing college football right now with 0 turnovers, which during fall camp they had 3.
Yeah, and it was good to see the defense get 3 turnovers on Saturday as well, because that's something they weren't able to do against Florida State. All this comes with the caveat it was ULM, but I will say I thought it was impressive. You had the one drive in the second half where they had 2 touchdowns called back for penalties. Now, you don't like that, right? Obviously, you don't want those penalties to be there in the first place. But I thought that drive, that's typically something last year you would have seen. You'd be dead in the water, right? Like, they didn't have an ability to recover from that. Now, can they do that in SEC play? We'll see. But to have 2 touchdowns on the same drive called back for penalties, and then you still finish that drive with the touchdown, I thought that was impressive to still be behind the chains and be able to get themselves out of that twice.
Me and my wife, Dorothy, had a chance to hang out with a couple last night that they have season tickets. They actually have a suite there at Bryant-Denny and know someone, and I don't want to give away the title, but they can answer phone calls from influential people. And they said that last week they talked to that person, and they said it was the worst week that they'd ever encountered with phone calls and people like the sky is falling. But what a difference a Saturday can make, even with an opponent like La Monroe.
Well, like La Monroe, Auburn was playing an opponent that was less than stellar. One of the worst teams that you're going to find in the FBS is Ball State, and Auburn took it to them 42-3. Damari Austin, as we said towards the end of the week, he was going to be sidelined due to an injury. So Jeremiah Cobb, he stepped into a starting role. He had a career-high 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jackson Arnold, it was pretty interesting because he didn't do what he did against Baylor running the football. I think it was probably a point of contention last week at practice that they were going to make him throw the football more, try to put some more things on tape as opposed to what you saw in the Baylor game. He was 24-28, 251, 3 touchdowns. Singleton caught 2 of the 3 touchdown passes. Horatio Fields, the other touchdown pass. Arnold only rushed for 5 yards. Just 5. He had 137 against Baylor. So a little bit of difference in regards to what the game plan was for Auburn. Cam Coleman recorded at least 1 reception. That's now 13 career games in college football, and he's caught a pass in every single game that he has played in. AU defense, stifling, needless to say. They only gave up 68 total yards on the entire night.
Should have had a shutout, but that was, I don't know who the officiating crew was. I guess it was an SEC crew, but we were able to watch just a little bit before travel, and it was bad, really bad.
It is the biggest defensive performance by an Auburn football team since 1985 when they held Ole Miss to 9 yards total for the game. Ball State went 3 and out 9 times in 12 drives. 5 of those 9 drives resulted in negative yardage. 6 sacks, 14 tackles for loss by DJ Durkin's defense. Auburn is the number 1 team in America in sacks. They have 10 through 2 games. Ball State did have 5 sacks, though, against the Auburn offensive line, which that will obviously be something that Auburn pays very close attention to moving forward. I just mentioned Alabama's defense, how it went from 103 to number 37. Auburn was 126 against the Baylor game. They're now number 43. So both Alabama and Auburn, top 50 defenses in the state of Alabama.
You got Ball State through 2 weeks. They got shut out in week 1. Should have been shut out, but they had 3 points in week 2. And then you got an Akron team that UAB is going to see that still has not scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nebraska took care of them this weekend.
Sure did.
They just set it up for UAB.
And Wyoming did it in week 1.
Don't worry, we got you.
Yeah. Way to go. Long day for more so you than me because you had to travel home. But
yeah, it was long.
Yeah. Couple weather delays there in Annapolis, Maryland. UAB loses by 14 to the midshipmen. What time did you finally get home?
Rolled in my driveway at 1:30. Yep.
And you and I were just talking a couple days earlier how it was like, okay, you should be able to get home and
The plan
watch a lot of the really good games in prime time.
Yeah, the plan, we were expected to arrive on the itinerary at 9:15.
Not bad.
Yep, I kind of planned out my night and thought, yeah, I'm going to get plenty of sleep because we had something to do yesterday morning early, and that did not happen. But going up there, they had an emergency aircraft that was coming into Baltimore where we were supposed to land. The pilot comes over and he says, hey, we're in a holding pattern. Looks like it's going to be about 30 minutes. And immediately my thought, we do the stories on planes and things, and I'm thinking, all right, do we have enough fuel? And sure enough, no, we started running low on fuel, so we had to land at Dulles and then wait, get in line, get refueled. By the way, go back through an entire safety check, which we'd already done it once. Anyways, did it again just to make sure everybody was clear on inflatables and what to do in case of an emergency. But we finally got there. It was a long 24 hours.
So needless to say, you did not go to the Orioles game.
No.
That would have been a great game on Saturday.
The funniest line. So I started pitching to everybody. I said, hey, brought it up on the show. I will go if you guys will go. And I think I had Bryant and David Crane talked into it. And then as we're sitting at Dulles, I forgot who made the comment. And they said, hey, are the Nationals playing? I was like, yeah, guess we could technically go to a Nats game.
Yeah, they were in Chicago. You'd have had to got on another flight.
Yeah, that would have been a little difficult. So, and I know, I guess maybe you felt safe because you're refueling, but I'm just thinking for me, right? I'm on an aircraft and we're doing the safety check again. I'm like, are you doing this again? Because are you trying to send me a message that maybe I'm going to really need to know this information?
Yeah.
So we're doing it again. Like,
well, we did all of that for a 16-minute flight to where we were going next. Look, flight crew, they were great. Pilots were awesome. They had nothing to do with it. But that's just part. Even when you charter, you still deal with issues, and we certainly did.
Well, it was definitely a long day, and unfortunately, UAB could not come out with the victory against Navy. Navy's a very, very good football team, and of course, with all the weather and everything else involved, it was second half got sloppy for the Blazers.
Yeah, it did. So, turnovers costly.
But the good news is they're back at home and they got Akron. So that could be the elixir that is needed to get the Blazers back on the winning side of things. Each and every Monday on this program, Molly looks at things over the weekend. She gives us her train hot and cold. You got music and everything.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, I'm going to start with the cold. So my cold was the Steelers and Jets on Sunday. You want to know why? Because prior to the kickoff of Sunday Night Football, the NFL unders on Sunday went 11-1. And if you know me, you know I love to bet the under whenever we do Better to Forget It. I love taking the under. It's so fun. And I'm so used to Nebraska football barely scoring any points. I just love taking the under. But the one game to hit the over was the Steelers and the Jets. Of course, like I said, until the Bills and the Ravens, because clearly that went over. But that was my cold. I'm like, man, couldn't make it a perfect slate of the Sunday.
Did you take that in the office football poll?
I did not.
No.
It was a fantastic game.
It was really
a
good.
fantastic game. And my hot, as we know, there were a lot of high-scoring games this past weekend. And I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but Nebraska was actually one of them, putting up 68 against Akron. Never in my life did I think I would see Nebraska ever put up 68 points in any game, but here we are.
I took Nebraska in the points. I loved it.
Good, I'm glad. Well, anyway, at the end of the game, it was a very special night for Nebraska tight end Luke Lindenmeyer because he proposed to his girlfriend who happens to be on the Nebraska dance team like I was. So it was a sweet moment because, Luke, prior to like the week during practice, he asked Coach Rule, hey, if it's okay with you, Coach, I want to make a plan to propose to my girlfriend after the game, assuming we win, obviously. And sure enough, Nebraska handles their business against Akron, and he proposes to his girlfriend, and it's a happily ever after for them, which I love.
Now, you said you were on the team with her?
No, I was not.
Oh, you were not?
No. She was coming in when I was going out.
So she was an incoming freshman as you were graduating?
As I was graduating,
okay.
Yes.
Did Dylan Raiola force him to propose to be more like Patrick Mahomes?
See, I've been wondering that.
Just saying.
His tight end proposing to his girlfriend, like, I did hear a lot about that.
It's an uncanny comparison at this point.
It is, right. But I'm still very happy for them, obviously. Anything to win games, and I'm fine with that.
Who does Nebraska have next?
Houston Christian.
Yeah, Akron or Houston Christian, that would have been the two games that I would have circled if I was going to propose.
And I don't disagree with you. I would too.
Your other options would have been Michigan, Northwestern, USC, or Iowa.
Well, at least Akron, you're pretty much going to win. So, and I wouldn't want to be proposed to maybe after a loss. That'd be a little awkward. But the Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jock. So go and find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com.
Well, it was an interesting weekend around the Southeastern Conference. We'll give a look at what's going on in Gainesville, Florida. Things are getting interesting down there once again. We'll get into that. And John Mateer, what a game he had against the Michiganders. All that straight ahead on this Reaction Monday on Jocks. Well, overall, it was a good weekend for the Southeastern Conference. If you look at the matchups that was going on, whether it was in conference where Ole Miss was able to knock off Kentucky, Oklahoma, obviously, big win against Michigan. But the one that everybody is talking about, and this is where we're going to start the conversation around the conference, is South Florida against number 13 Florida. In the Bet It or Forget It segment each and every Friday, all three of you took South Florida to cover, which it seemed like everybody in America was taking South Florida.
I was worried about it because the news on the plane was that Byron Brown had been suspended for the first half, and then
nasty internet rumor.
I won't throw him under the bus, but someone who I let him know you should have caught that early. Then he learned that it was a hoax.
I'm totally not bragging when I say this, but I definitely said on Friday, don't be shocked when USF wins the game outright.
You did.
Yeah, so South Florida, I mean, it was a weird game. They kicked the 20-yard field goal as time expired, but late in the game, in just 2 days after what Jalen Carter did to start the NFL season by spitting on Dak Prescott, Florida defensive lineman Brendan Bett hawked one on the opponent's face right in front of an official, turning the Bulls second and long deep in their own territory into a first down near midfield with 2 minutes to go. It changed the complexion of that entire drive by him being stupid and spitting on the South Florida player.
Impressionable young people, I guess. He sees a guy do it.
It's unbelievable. South Florida held the Gators to the fewest points in any of the 9 games that DJ Lagway had started as the Florida quarterback. Lagway has got to do a better job throwing the ball down the field. His average completion was 6.7 yards. I mean, this is like Bryce Young stuff right there. I think Bryce is averaging like 3-4 yards.
Oh, you mean completion. NFL Bryce Young? Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, the bad one. Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
The Gators had won 5 straight games dating back to last season, which tied for the nation's longest winning streak. But now they enter a 4-game stretch in which Billy Napier's got to play LSU, Miami, Texas, and Texas A&M. And don't look now, but Billy Napier's back to 500. He is 20-20.
It's double bad because you were off the hot seat and you had fans like Drake and PG who listen to our show. You had them so optimistic. And then to lose to that team from your own state, inside your own stadium, in the way that you did it.
You paid them $500,000 to come to Gainesville.
Disgusting, man.
I just like how every week so far this season, because, you could have picked, let's say Sam Pittman, right? You thought Sam Pittman was on the hottest seat to start the season, maybe Brent Venables. Then it was handed off to Kalen DeBoer. Now it's been handed off to Billy Napier. So maybe every week the coaches will just rotate who's on the hottest seat because everyone seems to be having a little bit of a rough go at times.
I mean, but here's the thing that probably if you're a Florida fan that you have to keep asking yourself this question. So Dan Mullen was 31-9 after 40 games. You fire him. 31-9. Played for an SEC championship and gave Alabama a heck of an SEC championship game.
He did.
I almost beat them.
Oh, yeah, he would have played for a national championship, potentially.
Now, they fired Jim McElwain before he got to game 40. He was 22-12. But still.
Not a bad record.
22-12.
You would take that.
Will Muschamp was 24-16 after 40 games. And then, of course, Urban Meyer was 31-9 before he, whatever health ailment he wanted to claim that week, and he decided to walk away from the game.
It's just more funny than him and Dan Mullen have the identical record through 40 games.
Isn't that crazy?
And Florida fans would look at them much differently.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dan Mullen didn't like to recruit, but guess what? If you'd have held on to him, it doesn't matter if you go recruit now. Lane Kiffin doesn't recruit.
Well, and you saw what Dan Mullen's team did this weekend, too.
Yeah, so, All right, let's hear from Sunbelt Billy Napier, who is now 20-20 on the year.
Not good enough, and it's my responsibility. I think when you evaluate the game, the red zone missed opportunities caught up with us, and we let them hang around. And certainly the penalties contributed to the game. I think we had over 100 yards in penalties. You add in the bad snap for the safety, and then you lose the explosive play battle and you lose the turnover margin. You don't deserve the right to win. And you had 7 possessions in the second half and punted 6 times. I want to keep it short and sweet. I think that we can do much better. We can coach better. We can play better. Obviously, I don't like these as any more than our fans do or you do. And we have to do much better. And I think that we have a group that will respond, and tomorrow will present that opportunity.
Another great example, though, of scheduling a team like Long Island in week 1. You win 55-0. What did you really learn about your team heading into a matchup like you were going to play? Much different opponent, albeit not from the SEC, but opponent that was very impressive and dominating Boise in week 1.
Well, DJ Lagway didn't look great against Rhode Island or Long Island.
Either one.
Whoever it was.
Tells you, what does that really tell you? You get zero feel of your football team. And then you go in and you play a team like that, and South Florida's good. But now you look at the rest of Florida's schedule. So that was a game that you had to have. I think Miami, the game at Miami, that probably looks different than it did in the preseason. The game versus Mississippi State looks different. I know we're going to talk about them, but that game, everything's on the board now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the only thing that makes you feel a little better is that LSU didn't really impress anybody against La Tech, and so maybe you feel better about that matchup right now. But still, I mean,
Brian Kelly ticked off, said across the board he was not happy with the effort. You don't think that that's going to be a spirited bunch at Tiger Stadium come Saturday?
That's a tough look for Florida. I mean, look, as an Alabama fan, USF, good program, right? They took Alabama to the wire 2 years in a row now, but they found a way to win those games. Florida needed to find a way to win that game on Saturday.
You just have to wonder now that Scott Strickland's got an extended deal through 2030.
Interesting he got that right before they did that.
So then all of a sudden, what does that mean for Billy Napier? We'll wait and see. But we're just talking about Mississippi State, and this was a dangerous game. Everyone had pretty much earmarked this one. Just the fact that Mississippi State, I know they played Southern Mississippi, but they looked more competent, and that's the best way to put it, against Southern Mississippi. And when you're going to Starkville, Mississippi, and you're from Tempe, Arizona, and I believe this was the first time, what was it? Let me get the date for you. Oh, yeah. It's been 6 years since Arizona State had played a game on the eastern side of the Mississippi River. They just don't go east of the Mississippi River. It's been 6 years. And getting to Starkville, Mississippi, even if you're a Southeastern Conference school, not a shot at Starkville, it's a tough place to get to. It just really is. This is the way it sounded on the Mississippi State Radio Network. Matt Wyatt is the color analyst. Take a listen.
3rd and 9, clock stops with 41 seconds left. Arizona State leads it by 3 late in the fourth quarter. Traore, the tight end, in motion, slot right. Chapin throws touchdown. Right side. Thompson catches it inside the numbers 20. Angling left 10, 5, touchdown, Brennan Thompson. Wow, Davis-Wade Stadium explodes as the Bulldogs go back in front thanks to a bomb to Brennan. 23-20, Mississippi State with 30 seconds to play.
What a game. 58-yard touchdown pass with 30 seconds left to go. Man, what a great win for Mississippi State.
All right, I will try to stay in my lane, but just watching that, situationally, time, score, the defense that Arizona State had out on the field, and I know that it was a blown assignment by one of the DBs who was supposed to stay with his man, but how you don't go soft shell something. They didn't do it.
I mean, make them kick a field goal and go to
overtime. Make them kick a field goal.
Scenario.
Exactly. Take your chances in overtime.
That I will say the best part about that call is you can hear one of the announcers immediately go touchdown. Because he can see how busted the coverage is on the back end. It's like, you see it, it's over. I was so happy for Mississippi State. I can't lie.
Oh, it's awesome.
So happy for Mississippi State fans. It's been a long time for them.
Good for Jeff Lebby. If you had the over on the, I don't know what the wins were. Was it 3.5, 4.5 for Mississippi State? That was one you probably didn't expect. I mean, the game versus Southern Miss, it's like you said, Pat, that was an impressive win and able to pull away against that team in the second half, but State. And they were competitive in some games last year.
Mm-hmm. As Texas.
The problem was that their defense was a sieve.
I mean, that Arizona State game was close last year.
It was.
It was.
It was.
Score game.
Yeah. And Arizona State people tell you that game kind of turn things around. You know, Scatterboo had an incredible game. I think he ran for like 260 something yards, seriously, against Mississippi State last year. It was stupid. But anyway, big win for Mississippi State, not so much for Florida. This is Reaction Monday. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. Does things make you feel better after what you saw in Tuscaloosa on Saturday, or are you going to kind of hold jury out for at least a couple more weeks for the Georgia game before you think that Alabama is back? And Auburn, impressive win, albeit the opposition, they went out and took care of business in a very dominating way. All that straight ahead on Reaction Monday here on Jocks. It is 10:35 on this Reaction Monday. We will hear from Kalen DeBoer at 12 noon as the Crimson Tide come off a 73-0 win over La Monroe. They got Wisconsin coming up. That's a morning kickoff at 11 a.m. at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Meanwhile, the Auburn Tigers, they'll be hosting the South Alabama Jags. We'll hear from Hugh Freeze at 1:30. Former UAB head coach Bill Clark will join the program at 1 o'clock. If that old tree is laying a little bit too close to your house, don't wait for that next storm to make that decision for you. Call Golston Tree Service at 205-337-4443. Your trusted local experts in fast, affordable, and professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup. Licensed, insured, ready to handle any job, big or small. Call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. Golston also offers 24-hour emergency tree service. So when it comes to your trees, don't risk it. Call Golston today. That number, 205-337-4443. So a rest around the conference, the Southeastern Conference. You had Ole Miss knocking off Kentucky 30-23. Austin Simmons did not look good in the first half. 235 yards passing, 2 interceptions in that one.
I figured it out. He looks like Tua on the Dolphins.
Okay.
Because he's made of glass and he turns the ball over a lot.
Yeah, he got banged up a few times in that game.
A little scary.
But those interceptions were bad. Those were not good.
Just like Tua's yesterday in the NFL.
Yeah, not good at all. But Ole Miss gets a very interesting road win, and many of you out there, including myself, had Ole Miss in the points. So if you had any money on that game, because of what happened at the very end of the game, where Pete Golden's defense basically playing prevent cost the bettors from winning the Ole Miss game if you had Ole Miss in the points. Here's Lane Kiffin after the game.
Really glad how the players played, especially in the second half, second quarter, and they fought hard. That's a really hard team that plays really close games. So proud of our guys. Sorry to a lot of gamblers there at the end.
There you go. He was talking to me, and I appreciate that.
It's a double bad beat because I had the under, and that pushed it because it was 50.5. That pushed it to 53 from 50. Double bad beat.
All you had to do.
I had Ole Miss in the points.
Just get one stop.
One stop.
That's it.
And we were saying so many nice things
wins.
about Pete Golding last week.
Everybody wins. Everybody's happy. You're going into the Arkansas game now. It's like people's got money in their pocket. It's, but no. Can't have nothing nice anymore, kids. Can't do it. But they get the win. So they're 1-0 in the SEC. So that's big for them. Mizzou took on Kansas. They're in Como.
Awesome game.
Kansas jumped out to a 21-6 lead and was like, uh-oh, what's going on here? But Bo Pribula led the way with a 334 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Here's the stat that blew me away. Mizzou ran 86 offensive plays.
That is a crazy amount of plays.
Kansas ran 49.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy.
What would you think the average is per team? Like 60s probably across the country per game?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so Alabama put up 73 the other night. I think they were in the high 70s.
Okay.
and you scored 70 points.
Yeah.
And Missouri did more than 10.
86 plays.
My guess would be in the
42
60s
points
for your average college football game, number of plays per team.
Yeah. Here's another impressive stat. You want to talk about what Pribula did in that game. So Missouri faced 24 third and fourth downs in that game. Okay? 24 third and fourth downs in the game. Across those plays, he attempted 18 passes. He completed 15 of them.
It's remarkable.
He threw for 177 yards on those 15 passes, 3 touchdowns. And that's just on third and fourth down. 177 yards, 3 touchdowns.
He's a good little player.
Against Kansas.
If I'm Penn State, I'm like, do we pick the wrong guy here? I mean, he looks sharp.
Yeah.
He looks very good.
So keep your eye on him. Of course, they're playing a nobody again this weekend. I think I don't even know who it is. But it's not anybody decent.
Directional school.
Yeah.
Am I reading this right that Florida Atlantic had more plays than Missouri did
this weekend?
On Saturday?
So I went to the team ranking site. You're familiar with it. And it's got for the 2025 season, it's college football team plays per game. It's got FAU at number 1 at 97, Missouri at 2 with 90, and then App State at 89.
Meaning that's their average?
Well, it's got 69.6 in 2024. That would be their average.
Dang, so Mizzou ran like 94 plays in their first week. That's a pace right there.
Yeah.
I'll try to get clarification. I didn't know that there was a ranking on that, but there is.
Yeah. Big win for Mizzou against their hated rival, the Kansas Jayhawks. Vandy goes on the road against Va Tech. Diego Pavia throws for 193, 2 touchdowns. The Doors rush for 262 yards. Impressive on the road against Virginia Tech. I hate it for Coach Sanderson. We tried to tell him.
Yeah.
Tried to tell him.
When it looked good, Virginia Tech or Vanderbilt was struggling early in that game.
But we told Coach. He asked us straight up. We liked that, and we said no. But he held firm. So instead of us talking to him Friday, him being 3-0, he's now 2-1.
Pavia made a really, really pretty throw on that touchdown. Good catch, too.
According to Pro Football Focus, of all the stats, he is currently the number 1 quarterback in college football.
It's early.
It's early. He's good.
Georgia, meanwhile, they took out Austin Peay 28-6. You want to talk about a team that did not look like a team that wanted to be there, and that was Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, 227 yards passing, 0 touchdown passes, 0 rushing touchdowns.
Ooh.
The Bulldogs' top 3 tailbacks, though, they did run 32 times for 180 yards and 4 touchdowns. But they had a long weather delay, too. There was,
Like 2 hours.
They had bad weather. They had actually moved the game. The game was supposed to be at night. They moved it up, and then they got hit by the weather delay. So it was just a rough afternoon, but a very lackluster performance against Austin Peay. Now, see, if Alabama would have beaten La Monroe 28-6,
we'd be having a very different start to the show today.
absolutely. I mean, it would have been the end of times.
Yeah.
It would have.
Well, Kirby, his message to the fans about sticking around, that actually paid off because they did stick around. He said he appreciated the enthusiasm as they came out after the weather delay.
Well, they had to because it was a competitive game. You can't leave when it's a competitive game, right?
LSU beats La Tech 23-7, another lackluster performance.
Kukuk.
LSU held the La Tech team to only 154 yards of total offense, 12 first downs. La Tech was 3 of 13 on third down. The Tigers only had 128 yards rushing against Louisiana Tech and only 80 yards if you subtract the one long run that Xavion Thomas had in the first half, which was a 48-yard run. So it did not look good at all. And let's hear from Brian Kelly. This is what the old ball coach had to say after LSU's less than impressive win against La Tech.
Yeah, look, we're happy with the win. We're not happy with the production across the board. We got to coach better. That's the bottom line. And tonight we didn't coach well enough. We got out-coached in a lot of areas. Hats off to Coach Cumbie and his staff at La Tech. They did a great job tonight. You got to run the football. We didn't run the football effectively tonight, and it made it difficult for us. We didn't make great decisions. So players got to make plays. Coaches got to coach better. You can tell by my voice I'm not happy with the performance, but it's a win.
Nussmeier, very pedestrian. He was 237 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So, not saying that he's not going to be in the Heisman talk at the end of the year because you've got the SEC gauntlet coming up. But, when you're playing La Tech and you only throw for 237 and you throw an interception, that does not bode well if you're trying to pass the mustard of you being a Heisman candidate.
When you have a marquee matchup to start the season like Clemson and LSU, because Clemson looked like absolute hot trash. No offense to
against Troy, yeah.
Yeah. But you're a 30-something point favorite?
At home.
No, it was
rally to win that game.
It was ugly. It's interesting. A lot of the South Carolina hasn't looked great so far in the season. I mean, I think at this point it's, at least in my opinion, I think John Mateer has clearly been the best quarterback in the SEC. We'll see if that continues, but Arch, Nuss, Lagway, Sellers, all of those guys have maybe not lived up to expectations so far.
And speaking of South Carolina, they did win 38-10. South Carolina gained only 253 yards against an FCS team. At home.
Oh, you start thinking about the grind and how hard it was at times for them against Virginia Tech on the neutral field.
Oh, yeah, it was 10-8 for a long time.
What Vanderbilt does in Blacksburg, you're not supposed to compare, but maybe South Carolina is more the former than the latter.
Sellers threw 6 incompletions in his first 8 attempts against an FCS team. And he only had 128 yards passing for the entire game. He ran for 23 yards, and he was the leading rusher for South Carolina until the final play of the game. I mean, you just got a lot of lackluster SEC games over the weekend for teams that are supposed to be the upper echelon of the conference. If it had not been for 2 return punts for touchdowns by South Carolina, that would have been a completely different game.
And I think, that coupled with the performances you got this weekend, right? If you're an Auburn fan, maybe you look at the SEC a little differently now and you go, some of these teams seem a little vulnerable. Similarly, if you're Alabama, I think it was equal parts this weekend of people feeling better about not only the performance against ULM, but you look around the rest of the conference and you go, okay, maybe that Florida State loss, it was bad, but, everyone else is having struggles along the way too. It's not like everyone else looks like they're in a different class. So good weekend for the SEC in terms of wins, but a lot of question marks still for a lot of teams.
No question about it. Water is your home's worst enemy, and it doesn't need an invitation. It can find its way into your crawl space. It brings along mold, pests, and wood rot. But APS, Alabama Professional Services, they have the solution for you. Their crawl space encapsulation system, it seals out the moisture, blocks the pests, and can even help reduce your energy bills. This isn't just a one-size-fits-all solutions. The engineers at APS will come to your house, and they're going to design a custom system specifically for your home. Don't let crawl space problems get worse. Call APS today, 205-951-9717, or visit alabamaprofessional.com. That's 205-951-9717.
We'll go through the rest of the college football and the SEC slate. Get your reaction on this Reaction Monday, what you thought. The text line is open, 205-834-9450. Three-man front rolls on right here on Jocks.
So SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, he was in Columbia, Missouri over the weekend. He says that the timeline for announcing 3 annual opponents for SEC teams is a little bit adjustable. We tend to think sooner rather than later in regards to releasing that schedule. He stressed, though, that these are annual opponents, not permanent opponents. So a little wiggle room there. So if you're not happy with the 3 schools that you're going to be obviously slated to play over the next couple of years, that could be fluid and that could change. So keep your eyes open when the SEC will go that direction.
Well, fall is finally upon us. That means football season. It means pumpkin spice for some of you, but unfortunately it also means bugs. It's still hot here in the state of Alabama. We're still going to have heat that it hopefully doesn't reach the 90s, but it's going to be in the 80s. And what that means is bugs. Well, you can call our friends at Stark Exterminators. Our friends that have been family-owned for over 61 years, and right now you can call for the free home or business pest inspection like we did so many years ago by simply calling 855-STARK now or go to starkexterminators.com. One of their team members, professional and courteous, will come out to your house, your place of business, inspect it thoroughly inside and out, come up with a detailed plan to address any current issues that you have and any issues that come up down the road. So enjoy the fall inside of your home, outside of your home, with family and friends, but don't spend your fall taking care of bug bites and your wife screaming because she just saw a bug in the kitchen. Stark Exterminators, 855-STARK now. Go to starkexterminators.com. As always, tell them Landrum from Jock sent you.
So number 18, Oklahoma gets a big win at home. If folks nationally, remember we talked about this late last week, we all felt like after that Michigan game that the nation was going to wake up to John Mateer. Like if you didn't know who John Mateer was, you were going to know who he was after that game. 24-13, the final as the Sooners take out the 15th ranked Michigan Wolverines. Mateer had 270 passing yards, 74 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns in the win. Meanwhile, Michigan's highly paid freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood, he was 9 of 24 for 142 yards. And the only positive thing that was happening to Michigan, he wanted to fight and slap the taste out of Justice Haynes' mouth on the sidelines. Very odd situation for Michigan. And they lose.
Yeah, not what you want to see in the heat of the moment.
Well, based on performance, Justice Haynes should have gotten the $12 million or whatever Bryce Underwood's getting.
Yeah, it was funny. You had that interaction. Then the first play of the second half, he takes a 75-yard run to the house for Justice Haynes. So glad to see that he's still making an impact there at Michigan. But yeah, I mean, not good when you paying $12 million for a guy to complete 9 passes, and you got Dave Portnoy in the middle of the game saying, "I'm gonna have to call the boosters and get something figured out here." And so he's a true freshman. Let's give him some time.
Well, we have a situation developing because Sharon Moore is about to be suspended. Remember, because of the self-inflicted, I'm going to sit out these games, whatever the crap, because of his involvement with Connor Stallions. It has just been confirmed moments ago. Guess who will be the interim head coach of Michigan?
Chip Lindsey.
Martindale.
Nope.
It's not Wink? Who
nope.
is it?
Get your
Biff Poggi.
You got it. Get your sleeveless shirts ready to go, folks.
Yes.
Biff Poggi is back. He will be the interim head coach for the Michigan Wolverines. That's Sharon Moore.
I'm going to have to watch the game now. Yeah, that's awesome.
Who do they have coming up?
Nebraska Kearney. I don't know. Somebody like that.
The good news for Michigan is that
Central Michigan.
The Chippewas.
Michigan plays one more ranked opponent the entire year.
And meanwhile, Oklahoma,
and it's Ohio State.
Every SEC team on Oklahoma's schedule
is ranked
in the top 25.
What sideline will Connor Stallions be on against Central Michigan? 11 a.m. kick. Biff. He's got to go sleeveless, right?
Oh, absolutely. It'll be a balmy 50 probably.
That's right.
All right, hour number 1, man, that went by fast. It's Reaction Monday. Text line is busting at the seams. We'll get to your texts, your phone calls as well. Next hour, we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer. Hugh Freeze at 1:30. All that straight ahead.